So the first question I received from a student was it hard to play the violin? And it is a tricky instrument to learn. The first 3 years, you sound kind of squeaky and you're not always in tune, and it is pretty hard to learn. But the thing that kept me going was that I played in orchestra with a lot of my friends. And so most of my best friends were part of that orchestra, and we just had fun together and made music for fun. And so I wasn't really focused on if it sounded good or bad at the beginning. It was more about just having fun. And then eventually, if you practice more and more, eventually you get good enough where you can make the violin sound how you want it to. And then it becomes just a challenge to see how good you can get. And by then, the difficult part is a little bit past you, and it just becomes more fun and challenging. The next question I got is how many hours a day do you practice? Well, it depends on what part of my life you're talking about. So, when I was a kid, at the very beginning, I hardly ever practiced. And then in high school and junior high school, I practiced a lot, probably an hour to 2 hours every day. And then in college, I just played for fun, so I didn't really practice so much as I got together with friends and played. And then when I first got my looping pedal, I would practice a couple hours at least every week when I was learning how to loop. And now I pretty much just perform, and then when I'm learning new music, that's when I practice. And so I could practice more. I think everybody could practice more, but I've put in a lot of hours in the last 25 years. So the biggest part was in school when I practiced a couple hours a day. That's probably when I improved the fastest. So the next question is, what do you do for fun besides music? Well, before I used to like to go on long walks and go out to eat with friends, but now we're in the coronavirus part of life, and so I've been staying at home a lot more, but I've still been finding ways to have fun. I've been planting these little seedlings. These are chives, and growing them in my window. I've been doing some watercolor painting, and every night my husband and I have been listening to Irish traditional music, and I've been reading a really good book about Merlin and King Arthur, and it's been a very fun, different kind of time at home. The next question was I ever bullied, and if so, how did I push through that? I was pretty fortunate in that I did not get bullied growing up. I had a lot of kids would ask questions to me, but they really weren't bullying me. However, in my sixth grade classroom, there was a boy who did get bullied, and I tried really hard to stand up for him. I would sit with him at lunch and try to hang out with him as much as I could, and I would try to stand up for him in my class. And unfortunately, it's true. Some kids are bullies to others, and I think that's one of the worst things we can do as people, because people can't help how they're born or how they act always, and we just have to accept everyone for who they are and not make them feel bad about it. So I think even though I wasn't bullied, I tried to stand up against bullies, and that's something that we can all be doing. And if you are bullied, I think the way to push through it is to find people who are kind to you and stay close to them. I didn't have a very huge group of friends growing up. I had four really close friends, and so I wasn't like a popular kid at school, but I did have a good core group of friends. And so find those one or two or three people that you really connect with, and that can be your circle. And it doesn't matter what other people say or think. And if you see someone bullying, definitely say something to your teacher and put an end to it, because bullying is not okay. Um, the next question I had from you is, where did I get my looping pedal and how much do they cost? I got my very first looping pedal as a gift from a friend of mine named Alan Sparhawk. He's a musician in Duluth, and he plays in a band, and he wanted to work with me, and he showed me how to use the looping pedal, and then he gave me my first one. I've gotten a couple other ones from stores, like a music store in New York City. I got a couple there, and then I got one online that I ordered in case my other one broke. But they vary pretty widely in price. But if you were just trying to start out and you really wanted to learn, the one that I might recommend is called a Jam Man Express, and it's about $100. So you might have to save up for a while to get it, but they are really cool and they can do loops for even longer than my looping pedals. So they can do 5-minute loops. And I have a couple fiddle students back when I used to teach that got those pedals, the Jam Man Express, and they really liked it. So that is the pedal I would recommend for a beginner. The next question is, what is the fastest song you can play? And, I don't think we have to play every song fast, but I know that it is fun to do. So I'm going to show you a song called, I don't even remember the name of it. It's a fiddle tune, though. Here's my violin. I wish I remembered the name of this tune. I never remember, because I learned them all by ear, as I told you before. I learned all my fiddle tunes by ear, so I don't know if I can tell you the name of it, but that's okay. Here it goes. There you go. I don't know if that's the actual fastest song I know, but that's a pretty fast song, and you can always get faster. That's the thing. Practicing makes you go faster and faster. The other question is, do I play any other instruments? So I'll be right back. Now, I'm not very good at this instrument yet, but this is a harp, and it's a lap harp, and so you pluck the strings, and you can make songs with it, but I don't know very many songs yet. I'm trying to think if I can even do one. That's just a made-up tune. But so this is my harp, and this is one thing I'm working on when I'm at home, is I want to start playing my harp more. So just because I play violin for a living and I travel with it doesn't mean that I don't want to learn new things. So I've been working on this little lap harp. There's 2 more questions. The other question is, who inspires me? Well, there's lots of great musicians that inspire me. I love listening to Yo-Yo Ma and Itzhak Perlman. And Itzhak Perlman has a disability, too. He has polio. When he was a little kid, he had polio, and so he knows what it's like to have a disability, and he still became a famous violinist, so that inspires me a lot. But right now, who inspires me too are things like doctors and nurses and your teachers, especially, who are working really hard so that you can be learning online and going above and beyond to make sure that you guys can still learn. That inspires me a lot. So anyone who really tries to make the world a better place, that is what inspires me right now. And people who create really cool pieces of art and music, that inspires me too. And the last question is, do you think I should learn the violin? Of course I do. You should definitely learn the violin. It is so much fun. It's definitely a tricky instrument, so it's not something you get good at right away, but it's totally worth it, and it is a fun way to challenge your brain and make beautiful noises at the same time. So, those are all the questions I have from you, and I hope that you are doing well and staying safe and finding ways to make music and other art at home. Take care, you guys. Thanks so much. Bye.